Alright, so for the arm, we're going to make the arm like this. First thing that we're going to do is where we did the color change, we're going to tie that, make sure that's nice and secure. Because we just had a little knot on there just so that it wouldn't come apart. So we want to tie it. And I normally make like 2 or 3 knots on here. Then I'm going to go ahead and clip that. And all we want to do is just cinch this in. We're just going to cinch it. And just remember, keep fixing this so that it doesn't get all bunched up in like one area. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go around it. I'm coming out of there. Just going to around. It's nice. I'm going to go inside. Go back in there. And I'm going to make a knot in here. I'm going to go nice and tight. And then make a double knot. I'm going to be careful. Just on the other side. Which you'll have to hide your yarn. You just leave it in there. There you go. And we are going to slip stitch it together. I'm going to go ahead, now that I've put my knot on the inside, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this right back on the outside. And that's just so that I can match a stitch up. I was thinking I would prefer to use the white. I may use the white, but anyway, to join this end. So I undo my knot. From where we added the waist join. And I take my little stitch marker here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my first and my last, and so you can see when I pull on this end of the waist yarn, it's coming from this stitch right here. So I'm going to pick up that stitch, and then from this end of the waist yarn, it's coming out of, it's coming through here, this bottom stitch, but you don't want to pick up the bottom, you want to pick up the top. So those are my last 2 stitches, and then I like to fold it in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so this one's my 12, so I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to go over there, pick that one up, and I'm going to come to this side, pick this one up, so that's 3, 4, 5, and you see I'm just going along from one side to the other, and I'm picking up these loops. 6, 7, and sometimes they're tight, sometimes they're okay. And this one's 8, and you want to count so that you don't miss any, so that you don't have any drop stitches. And whatever machine you're using, however many needles is however many stitches you want to have. 8, 9. See, that one right there is pretty tight. You don't want to miss it. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, so I have 19 so far, and then I see that these are my last 2 stitches. So I'm looking for 20. That should be on this side. And so it looks like I missed a stitch right here. I don't know if you can tell that. This stitch hanging out by itself should have been pulled in. So that's why I have 19, and then I would only have 20 and 21 with my last 2. So I gotta go back to that guy. And that way I don't take apart. And I know what time it is at. So annoying sometimes. You can see that row is pulled up, and that one's just not because I missed it. And I don't know what stitch I'm on, so we're gonna hope that I don't miss anything. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. That's what you do. And this one you just undo it, and we just go back and pull them through. It happens sometimes. Then I just take off again off the first stitch, which is this one. And then, because this one gets tight, I just lift that bobby pin. I got it on my hook. Take that bobby pin away. That's 22. And we would want to yarn over and pull through the loop. But I always try to get I don't want to tie this one in there, so I get my working yarn, my white yarn, out from there. So now I don't have that trapped in there. And that's that. And we remove our waste yarn. And because we're on this end, if I pull this, it's just going to tighten it. So what I want to do is just find this yarn. So if I pull this, I can tell it's pulling that. And I just want to pull that one strand basically all the way out from that first row, and then I can release my waste yarn. So it looks like this might be it right here. can just pull it. Except I have split yarn right there. And have that little bit right there, some kind of split yarn maybe. I'm just gonna pull that out. And so this part right here, I'm gonna go ahead and tie it off. So that's nice and secure, and I'm gonna just go ahead and make a knot. I think I'll make another one. And then I'm just gonna run it in here. It doesn't matter where it's gonna be because we're fixing to roll this up. So I could cut it, or I could just leave it there because we are going to get this out of the way. We don't need the hook anymore. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just roll it. And I just did, I believe on this one I just did 3. So I'm going to come in like this to the middle, and then I'm just going to go again, and then I'm going to look at them, and they look about right. And then I'm going to thread my needle. And we're going to match a stitch. I'm going to have my stitches with the open end that way. So I'm going to be using this row and this row. So I just need them to line up. Start match stitching. I like to pull that part nice and tight because that makes the hand. And then we just begin. And you can do this with white. It's it's up to you. I normally just pick up one at a time, but this project has taken me a while. I keep putting it aside and doing other things, and I kind of want to finish it. And this way I can show you how it'll hide. Pretty sure I've shown you before, but so we're to the top. And what we do is we hold this right here and we pull our mattress stitch closed. Look at that beauty. And then once I have it nice and tight, I always like to just tug on it just a little, just so that my arm's not all scrunched up. Now, like with this one, I did it with white because I guess I was just working with the white. This right here, I want to just go back and forth on here. So for that, I do believe that I'm going to switch out my yarn and use the white, because then we're going to stitch it on the body. And I'm just going to double knot it. Add another one. And I'm going to cut that. And then I'm just going to, I could have left it a little bit longer to thread it through, but it's just going to hang out right there. Now we're going to get some white yarn and we're going to close the top. Alright, and then I don't even need that much, but I'll take from my fingertip to my shoulder. Cut that off. We're going to go ahead and thread our needle or yarn our needle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this closed. And you could technically mattress stitch it, but I'm just going to just go back and forth. On the inside, I'm not going over the top just so that I don't add any bulkiness to it. And with this, unlike with the mattress stitch, I do like to pull tight as I go. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you're picking up all the layers in there, just so that you don't get any bunching. Alright, so that's nice and secure. I'm going to make a little knot. Just like that. This little, excuse me, this little guy right here, I'm leaving hanging out just because I'm going to use it to tie this one off when I put the arm on. So that's why he's still in there. If I'm looking at my camera, I'm not even sure if when I was closing up this arm, I was in the shot. If I wasn't, I am sorry. Alright guys, so before we sew the arms on, now our arms are done. So this is what we have here. We have the two little arms that we're going to put aside for just right now. We have his little body, his feet, his pants, his shirt. We have his little bow tie, which is probably the last thing that's going to go on. And then we have his little head, one ear. We're going to attach the other ear. Then we're going to attach the head into the body. And then we're going to attach the arms. And then we're going to put the bow tie on. Alright, so we got his little ears on. And these are the yarns that I leave hanging out. That's not going to be enough for me to sew on the head. But what I like to do, and it's completely up to you, it's not necessary. What I like to do is I go ahead and I put them on the needle, and then I put my needle in the hole in the body. And I take it through the body. And I couldn't find my big needle, so I'm using just a regular needle, and I'm having a hard time getting through the body. But I just come out down there, and I just pull it snug, and that just kind of helps hold the head, so it's not flopping every which way. And then I'll just make a knot. I'll just tie these two together. And then of course I'm going to go ahead and cut this And I'm going to hide these into the body. Making sure that I go exactly in through the same hole because I don't want to leave any marks. Alright, so I'm going to cut this. And see the head. I mean, it's not on there obviously, but it's going to be not flopping around. And if you notice the little holes here from earlier, we are going to come back and close those up. And you can sew the head onto the body with the brown. You can do it with the white. I'm going to do it with the white. And I just got some yarn. I went from the tip of my finger to my shoulder, stretched out arm. Then I did it twice, just so that I don't run out of yarn. And then we're going to sew his little head on. It's not quite where we want it, so we just manipulate it to where we want it. First, I'm going to go ahead and start by putting my yarn in there. Leave my end for tying. And that looks about right. And so I've got that, so I'm going to pick up a stitch on the head. That coincides with my stitch on the body. So I have a stitch on the body, and I'm going to pick up the stitch on the head. And I'm coming down on the body. I'm not right at the top of where we tied off was. So I'm further down on the body, and I'm looking because I might even be able to come down further, but I think that that's good. I'm going to start off with that and see how that goes. Okay, so I got a little part on the head, right? I'm going to come back down exactly where I went in, where I came out of here. I'm going to go right back in there and pick up the next stitch. And then I'm going to go back to the head where we came out of. And I'm going to pick up the next stitch. And I'm just going to do that around. And then because I'm at the back of the head, I'm going to go ahead and see, it looks all discombobulated. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this nice and tight. So his little muzzle is a little lower than what I would have wanted. But so if you're making him, you may want to put his little muzzle up a little bit higher. You know, his eyes a little bit higher and his muzzle up a little bit higher. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down some. So you see I didn't need it all because I still have a hole from the fingertip plug to the shoulder. But that way I wasn't running short. And then I'm going to take, because these are not in the same hole, I'm going to make them, these two ends come out in the same hole, and I'm going to tie them off. I think it looks like I split the yarn right there. And let's see, am I in the same? Yeah, that looks about right. And so I pulled these tight. And I'm just going to go ahead and do 3 knots. I'm going to hide the, I could technically leave these out to tie the arms to, but I'm not going to just because I have so much yarn everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and hide these in the work. I'm going to go right back into that hole where they're both coming out of. And pull it nice and tight. That way when I cut it, it just pulls right back in. And he looks a little weird without his arms. We're going to go ahead and work on those now. I'm getting a little excited that he's almost done. He's not perfect by no means. I really do think, though, that if his muzzle was higher, then he would be perfect, but almost. Alright, so I'm just going to take this arm and I'm just going to, I'm going to take this, I'm going to come out in the middle. Kind of like in the middle of the arm. So that I can go, I come up like this. And like this part right here, this side looks better, so I'm gonna just so like if you see, I put him at this right in the middle, and so it's right there with the ear, with the leg, everything is nice and centered. Middle stitch right under the head. It's gonna sit like that and could come down lower, but pick right under the head. And then I'm just gonna come to the next stitch. And I want to go through the whole arm. Make sure you get the whole arm. And then we're going to go exactly like we've been doing, what we came out of right there. And I'm going to pick up the next stitch without getting the arm all tangled up, which is exactly what I'm doing. And then we're going to pick up, and you only need a few stitches, and then we'll go back into the middle and go the other way. And I'm going to see where we're at. pull this tight. And this little part's hanging out, so I'm going to pick up the next stitch. Then I'm going to go back into the arm. And I'm not at the very top of the stitches. I'm like stitched into the arm. I'm just going to grab that. Just to kind of try to round it out. Round it out some. And then I could come out in the middle and work the other way, but since I'm trying to make this part right here look good, I'm just gonna stitch. I think I will. I think I'm just gonna come back out in the middle. Like I said, we're doing this together. And you can stitch the arm on your favorite way. It doesn't, you know, if you have a favorite way of doing it or a better way, do it that way. Right, and if you see this, like I don't care for this little square where it's just like that. So what I'm trying to do is hide it. Like I'm trying to round it off. Which is why you see me doing what I'm doing. And so you can always just play with your stuff, you know, just get it to how you want it. And then, so this yarn right here, I'm just going to bring out where I have that other one. I'm going to tie them off. Just go back in exactly where it's at so that you don't leave any traces of it. I'm going to come out where this one is at. Maybe. And then I'm going to tie them. And I'll go ahead and do 3 knots. And then I'm going to hide it in the arm. So because it's so, I cut it too short, I'm going to just go exactly where that knot is at. I'm going to put my needle in, and then I'm going to attempt to thread it. I've tried to find, I've seen the needles that have like the nylon eye, which are so much easier to thread. I've seen them online, or on like videos and stuff like that, but I can't find them online or when I go shopping. And so there's his first little arm. I'm still not thrilled about that little part right there. I probably will come back to that. Let's see if we have better luck with this arm. And then we take his little bow tie. And then what I do with the bow tie is I am going to take one of these ends and I'll put it to the needle. I'm going to take it right down the middle, right where his head and neck meet, and I'm going to go on one side of that stitch and go to the middle of his head, go on the one side of the stitch, come out on the other side. And I'm not going to pull too much because I have to now do the other end. And I'm going to go right on the other side of that stitch and go through and come out, stitch, same stitch, and then I'm going to pull these. I'm going to make sure it looks good. You could just sew the bow on as well, the bow tie, but so look at it. I think it looks good. I'm going to tie it. I want to tie it pretty tight. Normally his muzzle wouldn't be right there at the bow tie, but kind of makes it look even better, so I think that's good. And so then I have one knot, I'm going to make another and another, and then we're going to hide this yarn. And I want to like go through like the body so that it doesn't show through the white. So I'm going like I'm under the polyfill. And then I'm going to come out. And then I pull till those knots are basically pulled into the polyfill. You can't see them. So and you can sometimes hear it when the knot breaks through the polyfill. And so it's completely gone. And then I'm gonna cut that. And let's see what our little guy looks like. And so we started out with, I closed the ears differently, so one was bigger than the other. And so, like, big difference. And so you can still see that they're a little different. And that's fine. This is a prototype, just trying to figure out how to make him, how to design him, how I wanted him to look. And make all my notes, and then I'll be able to do it better the next time. So his little ears are off. One's a little bit bigger than the other, but that's fine because most of us are not perfect. And, you know, they're a little offset. So even though he's cute, he has his imperfections. And but look at him. And so his little arms, his little shoulders all the way up there. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that at all. This right here is just where we joined our colors. And then we tied it off. You may want to take once you tie them off and cut it, is take the brown then and kind of weave it a little bit through the brown so it'll stay with the brown and not come towards the white, but that's all that is. So if I was to pull it out, I could probably get a little end and thread it back to the brown. And so I don't know if I'm gonna stitch his arms down. Like he's just shrugging his shoulder. Well, maybe we'll just leave him like that. He's just happy, huh? Maybe. So that's that. Now we're gonna come down here to the little gap. And I'm just showing you these because, you know, mistakes happen. And that way you can just fix it, or, you know, you wind up with a gap that you didn't need. So all I did was thread that. I keep this in here because I'm going to go back and tie off to that end. But here's my gap. I'm just going to come on the other side of it. And I'm just basically going to go back and forth. And then I'll pull tight and I'll see what it looks like. And if I need to do more. So all we did was just go back and forth. We pull that snug. And so see, that looks pretty good. Because you're going to pull that tight. Yeah, so that works perfectly. And then I keep shifting this all about. I will try to do better, guys. I will definitely try to do better. But I really want to come on here and finish this project because it's been a while in the works. I just really wanted to get it out there. So even though we're finishing this together right now, it's going to take me a while to edit and then to actually listed for you. So I'm going right in through there, pull it, go right back in through here. I mean, I could cut it here, but I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth, just basically to saturate this area more with the blue. And because I'm just going to cut it and it's going to just be trash yarn or use this stuffing. So, but I'm already here, so I might as well just continue doing this. And it can be stuffing while at the same time working for me. So look at how good that looks. And I think, well, it came undone, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull tight, cut, shift it around a little bit. And so, what do you guys think? Did he come out handsome as can be, even with his imperfections? Like I said, this is the first go around on this little guy. That probably will improve him some and just be good with it. So, what do you guys think? Well, there you have it. I hope that this video helps you. If you've enjoyed it, if you've learned something, please hit the like and the subscription button. Maybe even the notification bell so you can get notified when I put out new projects, new ideas, and we can do this together, and hopefully we will grow and learn together as time goes on. Guys, thank you so much for spending all this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Until I see you again. Bye.